Hello everyone, welcome to Cabbage Patch Soap. I'm so glad you're here. I'm just gonna adjust the camera and stuff, and there we go, get everything situated. I'm also gonna get my chat set up so I can see them. Okay, so just take me a second here to pull up the chats, and then we will get started. We're probably going to be doing the butterflies and fairies that I showed you last time. All right, almost got this pulled up here. There it is. Hi Lorna, welcome. Okay. All right, looks like chats are working. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put on my gloves and get started with a few things. We're going to do some updates, and then we will get to making the embed soap with the butterflies and fairies. I have the melt and pour portion melting right now on the stove, and it's already melted, but it needs to be held at a temperature so it doesn't solidify. Okay. All right. Hope everybody had a great weekend and a great Easter. Hi, Ian. Welcome. What? You tell your internets that it's required for you to be online. How are you supposed to get anything done without the internets? Jeez. It's almost like nobody got anything done before the internets existed. All right, so before we make the butterfly and fairy embed soap, which was suggested by Felicia from the Crafting Nook. Also, she made an update video, so if you haven't been to her channel in a while, go check it out. She posted an update. Anyways, before we get to making that soap, we need to cut the owl soap to see how that turned out, and we also need to talk about the orange liquid soap that we made. So let me move this out of the way. All right, so I found some jars that were big enough to hold this soap. This is the thicker of the two soaps. You can kind of tell by its very large air pockets and the fact that it's not moving at all when I hold it sideways. This is like it's like a paste. I mean, it doesn't feel that thick when you use it, but looking at it in the jar, it looks almost solid, but it's not. It's just really, really thick. The other one, this is the one where we put a little bit more water in. You can see how it moves. Can you see it moving? Like as I turn the jar, it's kind of oozing around. This is a little bit more liquid than the other one. It's almost like a pumpkin puree or something. But yeah, so these are the two different concentrations, and we're going to let them sit for about a month. And since this is in glass, we'll be able to see if all the pumice sinks to the bottom. I don't think it will, just because I mean, when I put these in the jars, there was pumice sitting right on top, and in the I didn't see any movement at all in the pumice, so I think we'll be fine. But just for the sake of the test, we will do it. I will set these aside real quick, and I also put the jar that had the botanical scrubbies. So we used, if you remember, the orange peel and walnut shell. I put it in a little jar like this. So this still has the scrubbies dispersed pretty evenly. I haven't seen any change at all, so that's good. So this one looks fine. We're just going to see if those botanicals mold or do anything funny over time. So let me just check the chats and see what you guys are saying. You told it, Ian? That's good. Hopefully it'll listen to you. Yeah, my Easter was great. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm glad she's doing better too. Okay, so this is the owl soap that we made with the neons, and you can see how this pink it really went pink after going through gel. So it's less red and more pink like it's supposed to be. This comes with a big asterisk. However, okay, so here's the individual bar that we made. I made a huge mistake. So when I put the neon pink in and we got a lot that dumped out, I didn't realize how much was in there until I started to mix it in. What I should have done was dumped it out off to the side, like on some paper or something. And I didn't do that. And because of that, there is so much colorant in this soap. It's not harmful to use, but it might be harmful to like the surfaces that touch the soap, is in it might stain them. So I think what I might do, I'll go ahead and pull this out, but I think what I may do is remake the soap because it is really pretty. Oh, it's still a little bit soft there. Um, it is really pretty. It's bright, very happy, very neon. But at the same time, it's gonna. I mean, this happens with any soap. I mean, this isn't staining my gloves necessarily, but I fear that it might stain something. And even though you can see like it stained the inside of this mold, that's pretty normal. This usually will just come right out. So what I'm going to do is wait, and then I'll test and see. I'll test this soap and see if it stains with like a little sample piece or something. If it does turn out to be staining, then we're going to have to remake it because I don't want to sell soap that stains, especially if the people using it aren't aware that it'll stain. So, um, I mean, it's really fun looking, but I really should have just stopped when it dumped in the pink and removed some of that dye, and I didn't do that. So, or the mica, I mean. I'm just trying to make some space here. I'm gonna put this over here, but we'll go ahead and cut these bars anyway, and just see how they look. And then, like I said, we can run some tests, see if it stains. If it doesn't stain, fine. If it does, then we'll have to remake the soap. Okay, just gonna adjust this real quick. Okay, I'm gonna pull this out of the mold. I like how distinct the colors look. Don't know if the camera will focus on this, but the swirls, the orange, pink, and purple, really look distinct there. So, okay. Now, because that sample bar was soft, this might also be a little on the soft side. But we'll see. I'm going to try to gently push this out. Okay. There it goes. Okay. This looks really cool. All right. So, first of all, you can see where the color stained the inside of this mold. And like I said, usually that's normal and this just wears off over time. But I don't want that to happen to people's bathrooms. But I'll still test it. So, all right. Here's how the side looks. That's really cool. I like the sides of this. This is fun. Looks almost like a swamp and trees or a river or something. Okay, goes this way. I'm going to make sure. I believe it does go this way, so wait a second, maybe not. No, it does. Okay. I did have it correct. Good. All right, so I'll clean this up. Smells good at least. Yeah, it's very neon, isn't it? Hi, Stacy. Welcome. That smells really good. It's very fruity and fun. I really like this fragrance. Okay, well, that's good enough, I guess. Let's go ahead and push this through. Okay. And I cut it the wrong way. So that's fine. We'll have to remake it anyhow. Because the owls are gone. But that looks cool anyway. Let's try it the other way. Let's turn it. Yeah, see, there's the owls right there. I knew this would happen eventually. I marked the mold in the wrong place. But like I said, I was probably going to have to remake this anyway. So what we'll do is we'll turn it. And we'll cut it again. So this is good because this just forces me to stop worrying about it and just remake it like I knew I would probably have to. Um, there we go. So let's see what it would have looked like had I done this correctly. All right, this will be fun. I'll be like doing a puzzle. There we go. So there's the owl, and you can see how it's resting on that branch. Kinda. Oh, it's upside down. There we go. Okay. So you can see the owl, and you see that dark line it's resting on. But it doesn't look nearly as pink on the inside. So, I mean, I would have to have redone it anyway because the colors are all wrong. So I'm not mad at this at all. I'm kind of glad, honestly, because like I said, I knew I was going to need to redo this. It looks fine on the top, but then on the inside, there's just way too much pigment. What I probably can do with this is shred it and maybe use it in like a speckled soap or something. Then that way the colors will be more dispersed. It won't matter. But other than that, I mean, the embeds worked out, everything worked out, so there. Oops. But like I said, this is more than likely this was going to stain, and because it's just too much pigment. So we will remake these. Um, maybe we can do that on Thursday. Is remake the owls with the proper amount of colorant and do it right. And I will mark the mold on the correct side. Yep. So I'm going to put this in here. So we're going to work on the soap that Felicia suggested, which was adding cold process embeds to melt and pour. And thank you, Patty. Welcome, Patty, also. I'm glad you like the colors. The colors are a lot of fun, I will say. I love working with neons. They're a lot of fun, and they do cool things in the black light. So there is that. All right, so I'm going to clean everything off so I don't get neon color all over everything. And I'll get new gloves because these are tubular. Okay. Um, okay, so the embeds. Normally, when people talk about embeds in soap, they're talking about melt and pour embed. So you would take the melt and pour and you'd put it in something like a mold, or you would carve it or whatever, and then you would put it in your cold process soap, kind of like for example the little owls that I made in the soap. Those were embeds, but they were made out of cold process soap, not out of melt and pour. But usually when people talk about um, using cold process for embeds, they're talking about for example, the little owl. They would say, make that out of melt and pour or whatever. Um, but we're going to do it the other way around. We're going to have a bar of melt and pour soap that has a cold process embed inside. And there's a couple of reasons why people don't typically do this. One is because the cold process has to cure. And if you don't let it cure, then it's just really super soft. It can go funny in the melt and pour. There's a lot of reasons. Also, sometimes the colorant in the cold process can leach out into the melt and pour. And melt and pour, when you're doing it like what we're using it for, where we put like an embed, sometimes the colors can leach out into the melt and pour. It doesn't hurt anything, but it makes the melt and pour look a little bit foggy, so you can't see the embed that you put in there. So those are a couple of things. So basically, it's just really time consuming for something that may not look good in the end because you have to wait for it to cure and all that. But you can do it. Like it's not dangerous to do or anything. So I think what we'll do is I'll move this first and then we'll wipe the table down because I don't want to. I'm trying to avoid getting it on the cutter, but all I'm doing is smearing it on the table. So let me be right back. Anyways, so you can put cold process into melt and pour. Melt and pour is ready the moment that it's done solidifying. So When you pour melt and pour into a mold and you let it cool off, as soon as it's cool enough for you to pull it out of the mold, you can use it right away because it's already gone through saponification. It's basically soap and some detergents and stuff that are kind of combined so that when they're heated, they melt, and when they're cooled, they solidify. And it's already gone through saponification, so you don't have to. And there's, there's other things about it. They put the glycerin back in, and the other things. Anyways, so you don't have to wait for it to cure. And it's a convenient way of making soap because basically the actual making the soap part has been done for you. All you're really doing is melting it and pouring it into mold. It's like making ice cubes. You could think of it like that. And it's quick because, if you're going to do embeds, once it solidifies, you can use it in your soap. You don't have to wait, or whatever. So I'm just getting the last of this neon. It's at the bottom of the table. You can't quite see it, but it's smeared on here pretty good. I'm gonna spray that with alcohol. All right, I'm gonna go get rid of this soap towel because it's full of neon and I don't want it to, whoops. Yeah, see? I don't want that getting into the soap we're making. Okay, so just a second. I'm gonna turn this off for 1 second. All right. So anyway, the downsides to using melt and pour is that I don't have a microwave, so I have to do it on a double boiler. This melt and pour here took about 45 minutes to melt. So we sort of have to work fast because once it starts to solidify, or once it starts to cool down, it starts to solidify, and then we'll be stuck. I still want to spray off these molds, and I'm going to get a new pair of gloves on. So let's see if I can get this all done before that starts to turn solid. But anyway, there are a lot of benefits to melt and pour. I mean, it does have a high glycerin content, so if you like glycerin, there's that. It's quick and easy to use. You can color it, you can scent it, you can use glitter in it. You can put little toys and things in it. Like I said, I used to put erasers in mine. That way the kids had something they could actually use when they were done with the soap. And it's great for kids' skin. It's not harsh at all. And so as long as you don't get it too hot, it won't melt again. It has a really high melting point. I forget what the melting point is, but it's high enough to where it's not going to just melt sitting in your pocket or something. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Oh, hello, Zooey. I hope I'm saying his name right. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is spray these down with alcohol. That's just to make sure they are sterile and clean. I'm going to try to talk fast here and get this done. But also just to get out any dust or anything. The bottom of these molds are going to be the front of the soap. So that's how that's going to work. For various reasons. One is because the bottoms of these molds are really, really smooth. So it should give us a very clear look to the soap. It's just like with resin. If you have a very smooth, shiny mold, then you'll have a smooth, shiny finished product with your resin. Okay. All right. His ears perked up. How cute. I did. Oh, good. I did say it right. Okay. Hi, Zooey. Hopefully I don't confuse him too much. Okay. So these have all been sprayed out. I store these in a plastic bin to keep them clean, but you never know. It looks like a piece of this this napkin here got in there. Okay. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay. So thanks for cute hearts. Yeah, aren't they cute? I've had these forever, and I've used them. I usually make chocolate tarts out of them, like chocolate soap tarts, not real chocolate tarts. Cause, anyways, um, so what we're gonna do first, you can see how fast this solidifies. It's already forming a skin on the top. I have to keep pushing that down into the soap to make it melt back down. And then I want as few bubbles in here as possible. You could spray the top with rubbing alcohol to kind of help get rid of those. What I'm going to do is pour a little bit into each mold. And I'm going to try to keep these in frame because I don't like to move them after they've been poured if I can avoid it. These are actually kind of flimsy, cheap, you know, Wish style molds. I didn't get them from Wish. I got these before Wish existed, but the same level of like not expensive. So if I move them, it can distort the soap. So I don't want to do that. This is really, really hot, so I got to be careful. And I'm going to do what I'm going to do is pour a little bit in each mold. We're going to let it sit for a minute to kind of start to solidify. And then we'll put the embeds in. Oh yeah, and the fragrance too. Here we go. So these are the little embeds. I went ahead and trimmed them and dusted them with gold, the butterflies and the fairies. And let me move this out of the way. There we go. And then I chose this fragrance here. It's called Sunflower. I thought that would be fun. I'm going to pour that in before I forget. So even though this is definitely a floral, it's a really pretty light floral. Um, it won't cause acceleration in this because this, like I said, the soap is already saponified. It's not, it's not melt and pour. So I mean, it's not a cold process, so it shouldn't have any problems. Sometimes the fragrance can cause the melt and pour to go a little cloudy, but a lot of times that clears up. So we'll just see what happens. Okay, so we got these little chunks that are solidifying. I'm going to move them out of the way. Hopefully we don't get that in the soap, but we'll see. All right, so here goes. I'm going to try to start in the middle. We'll see what happens. And like I said, if this starts to solidify on us, I can always put it back on the stove. Okay, that's a little bit, that one's basically full. Oh wait, that's better. Okay. And I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to put a little bit of glitter on top of these. I have some biodegradable glitter. And I'm going to put it on top. Whoops. I'm going to put it on the top. So basically it'll end up being the back of the soap. Will have glitter. And that will help make the fairy a little more visible. There we go. This is really thick. So when I pour it in, it's not always clear when the mold is at the halfway point. Okay. Oops. Okay, so we got that little lump of solidified soap in there. So I'm just going to scoop that out. It won't hurt anything, but I don't want that to be in front of the fairy or butterfly. It's okay if it's behind it, that won't matter. But okay. And I'm going to spray these down with alcohol and then what that does, it breaks up any bubbles. This looks like I'm doing resin and not soap. There's a little piece of solidified soap there. Get that off. Okay. I'm going to try it without the spatula. Oh yeah, that's much easier. Should have just done that from the beginning. Okay. This smells really good. It's got a very fresh, flowery, but not overpowering fragrance. I'm kind of picky about florals. This one's really good. Okay, you can see how that soap that spilled, look, it's already solid. It's like taffy. Okay, so that means we're almost done here. Let's see. Let's start with this green one. I'll put it in here and see what happens. Okay, that's fine. That's not where I wanted it to go, but let's move it a little bit. It's fine as in like it's staying up in the mold, but this is getting solid really fast. All right. Gonna move this backwards a little bit. Okay. I'm probably not going to be able to fuss with these because these are getting pretty solid pretty quick. Okay. This top one I'm going to leave empty for now because I put so much soap in it. In fact, I'm going to go to this side. There we go. Okay. A little white fairy. And then these two tiny butterflies here, since they're so small, I'm going to put them in the same one. Also, if you do decide to do any melt and pour, melting it in a glass jar like I did is really helpful because the glass holds the heat better than, say, like a plastic jug. It's a little bit better. Okay, that's not how I wanted it to sit, but that's fine. Okay, we're going to give this a couple of minutes to kind of get a little bit thicker. What I'm going to do with this heart, so as not to waste it, and with the others too, might as well, get a little bit of this glitter in there. Oh, my hand is shaky for some reason. Like, come on. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing with all these. They're all going to get this glitter. Try not to break through the skin on the top of the soap because I don't want the glitter to sink down. Okay. I think what I'll do is I'll just do this and we'll just sprinkle. Oh yeah, that's better. Okay. Get that more even. So I'm sorry I'm not able to read comments right now. I gotta do this before it completely solidifies on me. Let's get this blue. But this is another issue with the melt and pour is that it's a really cold day today, so that's also part of the problem. Is that this is like if it was really warm in here, this would not have gone solid so quickly. And this is biodegradable glitter, so it's safe to use in soap. All right. This also gives like a nice background to the soap, so that way the little embeds aren't just randomly floating in them, and kind of just helps anchor them if you like visually anchor them. Yeah, and it's a lot of glitter because, as I always say, if you wreck something, you can fix it with glitter. Glitter typically makes everything better. And I'm not biased. I'm just correct. Just kidding. But yeah, glitter usually adds another dimension to the soap that wasn't previously there. So I'm just making sure I didn't leave any holes. Okay. It's hard to tell because this glitter is it's like pearlescent. So when it doesn't hit the light just right, it like it changes how the way it looks changes depending on how the light's hitting it. Okay, let's see if this is still fluid. Okay, it is. It's got a thick skin on top though. All right, so we're gonna start pouring. Ooh, this is hot. Okay. I'm gonna do this to break the fall just in case. Okay. Okay. Whoa, that's full. Okay. So this will almost be like a two-sided soap. You'll have the side, the back side here, which you can kind of see through, and you can see the glitter and the shape of whatever is inside of it. And then on the other side, you will be able to see the front of the object with the ones that I've dusted with gold mica and all that. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'm gonna fill in the soaps that have embeds, and then I'll come back and do the others if I have enough soap left over. Uh-oh, that one's got a bubble. No bubbles. Okay. All right, let me spray this. Okay. Then we'll get these. These will just be the plain glitter hearts. They'll still be pretty though. I really like this fragrance. I'm really glad I got this one to try. It's called Sunflowers or Sunflower. Okay, these are all full. Yes, they're all full. And I only have a little tiny bit left, really. So that was pretty good guesstimations. So hopefully this will work. Hopefully the embeds, they're not going to bleed any color into the melt and pour. We will see. But even if they do, they smell good, and their soap, they're really nice. Really nice melt and pour soap. This melt and pour that I get is a really high quality. Um, I don't like again. I don't use it much, so I don't order it really anymore as much as I used to. I used to make a lot of like novelty soaps out of it, but um, I looked for a really good quality one, and then that's what I went with. So right now I'm just scraping the sides. So this was like all stuck to the sides of the bowl. But the cleanup on this is real easy because it's literally just soap. You just stick it in. You can peel if you leave it like that. You can peel the melt and pour off like in a sheet. And then anything left over, you just literally wash off. It's soap. You just rinse it off. Like here is some that poured onto the table. And if I leave it alone, which I'm not doing, but if I leave it alone, it'll form like a hard, like basically a small bar of soap that I can just peel off the table later. But I'm using it right now to pick up this glitter. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little bit of a gap here because this is bunching up in the middle. There we go. And actually, these will probably be firm enough in a few minutes. They're still kind of gelatinous, but we can probably just unmold them Thursday. Couple of hints about melt and pour. Typically, you want to leave them at room temperature, especially if you're doing layers like I did, or if you're doing embeds. You want them to sit at room temperature before you unmold them. You don't want to stick them in the freezer. You can put melt and pour like in the fridge or the freezer to make it cool down faster, to unmold it faster. But whenever you have like layers or embeds or anything, you can actually cause that like to separate by sticking it in the fridge. So you don't want to do that. Instead, just leave it on the counter. It takes a little while longer. And then if you're having trouble getting it out of the mold, because sometimes they won't come out of the molds, especially the hard plastic molds, they won't come out of sometimes. You can then stick it in the freezer for a few minutes to pop it out of the mold. But these soaps will draw moisture to them, and you will get a lot of condensation. And since it's, you just came out of the freezer, you can't like shrink wrap it or anything until it's at room temperature. So you get a lot of what they call sweating, and that's where beads of water form on the surface of the melt and pour soap. So there are some challenges to it once it's made. Keeping it from forming um, that sweat or that moisture on the outside of the bars. So what I recommend doing is once these are cooled and solid, you can pop them out, and then go ahead and shrink wrap them right away so that they don't absorb or attract any moisture. Let me just see what you guys are saying really quick. Yeah, they're sparkly. Bad bubbles. Yeah, right, exactly. Can the pour and leave it alone. Right. You don't want to mess with it if you can avoid it. I'll admit I'm very impatient with this stuff because I don't like having this just like left on the counter and you can't really move it. If I was to set these up like on a tray, I could then move the whole tray, but then I'm still risking, the movement jostling it and then ruining it. Right now it has a very glassy surface. This one might not because I bumped it when I was messing with the melt and pour that was underneath, but um any kind of movement can disrupt that surface and then you end up with like wrinkles or whatever forming. And I mean again, I don't care personally, but some people that really bothers them. This one looks like the corner didn't get any soap, but this is already solidified, so we'll just have to see. If it does, oh well, the glitter will probably just fall out. Oh yeah, look, I'll show you. See? Okay. See how it's peeling off in like a sheet? It's kind of cool. It's like a, it's still really warm, so it's not coming off all in one piece like it normally would, but that's what it looks like when you peel it off. It looks really cool. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this out. I'm not gonna be impatient. I'm gonna let this sit, and then we will unmold them on Thursday and see how they look. Also on Thursday, we will probably be remaking that owl soap because I think it's a really cute concept. Um, but unfortunately, I messed up and I left all that extra colorant in there. I kind of knew, it's like that. You have a panic moment, and then afterwards, you're like, "Oh, I should have just done this." But like 1 second later, oh well. But that's what happens sometimes. We're human, we make mistakes. Um, So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll unmold these. We'll make the owl soap, and I just feel like there's something else, and I'm just not remembering. But it's definitely leave. Yeah, like a snake skin, right? Yeah, exactly. It's like a snake skin, or like if you get a really bad sunburn. Here's a big piece on the back. But this can all just be melted right back down. I'll probably melt this and like put it in like a little bar off to the side, just so that it's not wasted. Because it's scented, I you know, can't really use it with anything else now. But I'll just remelt that and use it again. But yeah, so I do feel like I'm forgetting something, and I don't know what it is. I'll remember as soon as the live is over. But definitely, if you guys have any suggestions or any ideas, anything you want to see me make, even if it's an experiment, like what this is essentially, or what most of my soaps are, just random experiments, let me know because I'd love to make the things you guys suggest. So definitely leave a comment in the video or under the video or whatever. And then also, if you're new, please like and subscribe. That really helps me out. And yeah, I think, does anybody have any questions or anything I could answer before I go? Okay. Oh, be sure to check out Felicia's channel, The Crafting Nook. She just uploaded an update. So definitely check that out. Can we put Ian in a soap? Yeah. Yeah. All right, Ian. Do you want cold process, hot process, or melt and pour? We'll put you in a soap. I have another way we could put him in a soap. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we could discuss. He could eat his way out? Oh, no. No, he does not. That I wouldn't subject anybody to eating soap. That's just not good. All right, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys on Thursday.